Hello. After trying to locate the Egyptian maps, we tried to reconstruct the corresponding channels. We noted the correspondence of the canals with the Rio Salado and its tributaries in the plain, forming 3 canals towards the south. We were also able to highlight the arm of the canal to the southeast to perhaps go towards a port or cove and towards Dona Blanca. This channel could also be used to bring the stones from the hill of San Cristobal towards the city. We have shown the importance of a canal located in the middle of the west coast and another from the plain of the Rio Salado to the northwest. Today we are going to review the criteria for locating the city on the island. For that we will use the ancient texts and will try to delimit the exact zone of its situation. We will successively see the center of the island, its maritime enclosure, and the possible location of the ports, then the plain and the limits of the city area, and we will not finish the place's onomastics. For information, the crossroads of canals at the bottom of the plain are 14 meters above sea level. It's pretty little and favorable to a flood. At this point, the plain is plate-shaped or light bowl with an average slope of 0.6%. The relief that surrounds it is very low and quite progressive, as in the previous photos. Let's look at the port location hypotheses on the Rio Salado. Plato writes, when we had crossed the 3 outer ports, we found a circular wall starting at the sea, and everywhere distant 50 stadiums from the largest enclosure and its port. This wall closed at the same point the entrance to the canal from the seaside. There are 3 ports outside the city to the sea, where a sea wall surrounds the coast until the opening of the largest port. I tried to find them in relation to the 10-meter and 15-meter contour lines. We can imagine the first and main seaside in #1, the second on bulge #2, the third on the widening at the intersection of the main canals in the center of the island at #3. Plato never says that the ports are inside the city. Let's calculate the center of the island, where Atlantis must be. To calculate the center of the island and the city, calculate the radius of a circle. It integrates the city, 27 stadiums, except the last ditch, before the enclosure, -3 stadiums x2 equals -6 stadiums, and everywhere distant from a radius of 50 stadiums, so a diameter of 121 stadiums of 185 meters is a radius 11,192.5 meters. The circle found should reach the entrance to the farthest outer port from the text, and correspond as much as possible to the shape of the island, which is not quite round but oblong. That matches, and we found the center of the island, where the city should be. But let's continue to provide clues. As the crow flies, the entrance to the city is 50 stadiums away. The entrance to the city must therefore be there, and the first enclosure not far away. The city's circular outer wall is 50 yards from the sea, according to Plato. Let's trace the corresponding area to delimit a potential location area. This also agrees with previous calculations. The city area should be in the central yellow polygon. But the city is located on a plain, says Plato. Plato speaks of a central plain of the island facing south, surrounded by mountains of low altitude. This is again the case of this area delimited in dark green. Let us come to the last rather disturbing point. Place names often keep track of the past. The names often evoke abandoned ancient places, old chalets in France, and many others. Yes, I think this place has kept the name of Atlantis, or at least a trace, and I will try to prove it. This bone has an inscription. It presents a Tartsian script transcribed by the Norwegian Institute of Paleography and Historical Philology. This gives a tall chart. This bone could be an ex-voto dedicated to the god Atlas. By a phenomenon called metathesis in linguistics, 2 letters can permute over time. Atlas, the king of Atlantis, could very well be called Atalis or Atul. In addition, cities were often under the protection of a god like Athena for Athens. A Tartasso-Punic town in the northwest was called Astaregia. Perhaps it was dedicated to the goddess Astarte. But why is it not called Astarte Regia? Could it be because Astarte would cluster in Astarte, to avoid phonetic redundancy, and would mean goddess Asta? From this hypothetical deduction, the bone with Atal Tart would be an ex voto dedicated to Atlas god. Likewise, Tartassos would mean land of the gods. I remind you that Diodorus of Sicily writes that the gods were born in Atlantis. These remain hypotheses to be confirmed by linguist historians. In the Ravine of Toril, Professor Diaz Montezano highlighted this rock engraving. It represents the symbol of Atlantis with 3 rings. Below in Tartsian writing, the professor interpreted the signs as a circular writing meaning Atal or Atala. Is it the title of the symbol of the city Atlantis, or the name of the divine king who governs at Atlas? Now let's go back to the map. The city of Atlantis is located in the center of the island, where the plain is located, surrounded by mountains of mediocre altitude, more than 50 stages from the sea. Connected by an important canal with 3 successive ports. On modern maps, this place is called La Atalaya, and corresponds exactly to the center of the area indicated above. The farm on this place is called La Atalaya, from the same name of the place, but the indication is repeated on the maps. The repetition indicates that it is therefore the farm that took the name of the place, and not the other way around. Atalaya, its etymology in Basque means door of power, hell of shelter, or shelter of the door of power. Atalaya in Basque means watchtower. Or Plato indicates that the Atlanteans put towers and doors on the bridges everywhere on the places where the sea passed. And they happen to be other places with the word Atalaya all around our lowland center. Some on high places evoking 2 watchtowers to the north. Another place is a canal to the west which evokes its possible destination. Likewise, there are other place names that evoke towers to the east of the area. Can we position the scaled-up robot portrait of the city of Plato in this area? It gives that. The area defined by Plato's criteria fits perfectly. I think there is nothing more to add. During the next video we will look at the interior configuration of the city to validate the detail in relation to the terrain. We will study the rings of earth and the water ditches without forgetting to solve the problem of a city with 3 or 4 ditches, already mentioned. Thank you for your attention. Feel free to comment or rate.